We are live. Welcome to another edition of the MMA Degenerates. I am the MMA Degenerate. I'm flying solo today, but don't worry, Ryan will be back next week. So before we begin, please do me a big favor. Smash that subscribe button. Head kick that like button. Please do us a big favor and share this with whoever you can. All right. So let's get into it. Now we have UFC on ESPN, Barboza versus Chickadze, or I'll call him Giga, Barboza versus Giga, and PFL, the playoffs, PFL 9 2021. So let's start off, of course, with the big boys, the UFC. Now, this was a great fight card, actually. It was a pretty damn good fight card, if I say so myself. So we had let's start from the top. We had Giga versus Edson Barbosa. Giga looked amazing. When I watched this, it was like a stylistic throwback to like the old days of the UFC, where it was style versus style. This was like different striking styles versus different striking styles. Almost no grappling. And we had Giga, who was the more karate-based guy. And he was on his toes, moving back and forth. He was a lot faster than Edson Barbosa. And Barbosa had that Muay Thai style, that plodding forward, throwing some punches, then hitting him with the heavy leg kicks and other kicks he can do. He didn't throw as many of those spinning attacks that he used to. Like, he's very well known for knocking out Terry Edom with the spinning back heel kick, which destroyed him. But he didn't do that in this one. I think he respected the striking of Giga too much to do those flashy moves, and he wanted to do more fundamental stuff. But it was great. You know, Giga really put it to him. He would go high, then go low, then go high, and he was hitting Edson to the body pretty well. Edson tried to use his boxing to kind of slow Giga down a little bit towards the end, but Giga just was able to overtake him, and he was able to hit him with some good shots and just was able to TKO him later in that third round. It was just too much for Edson, who he wasn't moving enough. His defense wasn't there, and that just, it stopped it for him. We had the finals of the Ultimate Fighter. I think it was Ultimate Fighter 29. I didn't watch the Ultimate Fighter, but the battles for the finals were very good. So in the middleweight, you had Brian Battle versus Gilbert Urbina. Now, Brian Battle, most amazing name for a mixed martial arts fighter. Like, that's the most amazing name you can have. He did very well in the second round. The first round, he got beaten up by Gilbert, and it looked like he was going to lose. Like, Gilbert was really putting it to him. It was probably, the bright lights, just like the lights went on, and they said it was for the finale, and he's like, oh crap, this is it. So, yeah. But he was able to gut it through. He was able to take him down. He was able to choke him out. And unfortunately, Gilbert lost. But they always give the loser of the final another chance. So Gilbert will get another chance, I bet. This was a good fight. Ricky Turcios versus Brady Highstand. That was a good fight. That was a really good fight. And it deserved to be a split decision. It was very back and forth. Ricky was definitely the better striker. He was moving around. He was doing crazy stuff. He's like that guy who does not stop throwing. He does not stop doing stuff to try to finish the fight, whether it be on the ground or whether it be striking. So he did a great job, using his striking. But so did Brady. Brady did a very good job, but his attack was very limited. He was only boxing, then wrestling. Boxing, then wrestling. He wasn't blending things well. He wasn't using a lot of kicks. He wasn't diversifying his attack. And in the first round, I think Brady won, or at least did a lot better than he did. And then as the rounds went on, he started to lose his momentum. I think Ricky just kind of figured him out a little bit, and he was like, okay, I know what he's going to do. He's going to try to hit me with those overhands. He's going to try to take me down. And Brady did take him down a lot, but I think it was just looking at what the judges felt was more effective. And I think Ricky's striking was more effective. If they said Brady won, I would have been like, okay, yeah, I guess, because he did hit him with good shots, with harder shots. And he did take him down. But I think Ricky's output way outweighed the amount of shots that Brady threw. So it was a good fight. The commentators were even reminiscing that it was like Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, not as much as a slobber knocker, but it was still a very good fight, and it was one of the better fights of the finales that I've seen. So those were good ones, very good ones. All right. So we have Daniel Rodriguez versus Kevin Lee. This was a great fight. Daniel Rodriguez just showed how good he is. He's got amazing striking. You could see his weakness, which is the ground game. He was able to get up, but he wasn't really doing anything off his back. He wasn't threatening with submissions or anything like that. When you have a wrestler who's trying to take you down and grind you out, you got to try to get those submissions, because then they're going to be like, oh crap, I don't want to go to the ground with him. But I think he was able to hurt Kevin Lee enough on the feet in the first 2 rounds to be able to pretty much, dissuade him from trying anymore. And in the last round, he was doing pretty well stopping those takedowns. I think Kevin Lee he says he's staying at 170, but he looked like he was walking around 185, 190, give or take. But Daniel Rodriguez looked like he was walking around at around 200, maybe a little bit more. He's a big boy. He's not fat, he's not flubbery, but he's just a big boy. And until they start making it so that it's hard to cut so much weight, maybe 155 is better for him, because Kevin Lee could be a lot more dominant and the bigger guy, but he's one of those tweeners, the in-betweeners. Andre Petrovsky versus Michael Gilmore. Yep, that was a good fight too. Petrovsky, he was on the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't see him fight, but apparently he was the number 1 seed, and he showed why he was the number 1 seed. He was in a great fight with Michael Gilmore. And it was a pretty back and forth affair, and he was able just to, in the last round, drag him down, get on top of him, and just beat the ever-living crap out of him. He started punching him, and the ref wasn't doing anything. Then he started with those massive bows, and just, that's it. So it's the difference of strikes. A punch is different than an elbow. An elbow, when it impacts and it slices, that the ref looks at it and is like, oh crap, I should maybe stop it. With punches, he's always covering up. He's okay for now. So I think that's why he switched over. And the commentators were even saying that, he should switch to elbows, because those are more impactful. Those are harder. The ref will be more willing to stop it with elbows. Let's see. Oh yeah, Gerald Meerschaert, versus Mahmoud Muradov. Ooh, that was a good one. That was a fun fight too, I have to say. It's between Andre and Michael fight and the Gerald and Mahmoud fight. Those are 2 fight of the night candidates right there, along with the Ricky Turcios fight too as well. That could have been fight of the night as well. There were a lot of good fights. But Gerald, he came out and he got beat up by Mahmoud. Mahmoud really put it to him in that first round. But then after the first round, I think maybe he got tired, because, Gerald is a very tough individual. He's not going to go down without a fight. I remember I first saw him fight Ian Heinisch, and that was just a crazy affair. So it definitely shows his toughness. You don't want to be known as a tough guy, though. You don't want to take that punishment if you can, or if you don't, have to. But he got the win. He gutted it out. He was able to drag Mahmoud to the ground, and his world is grappling. He is a grappler. He spent most of the first round on his feet, which did him no service. So once he got to the ground, though, he was able to destroy him, Mahmoud. So that was a good fight, though. Gerald he's a tough dude, and I think he's gonna do well if he can just tighten up the striking a little bit. And yeah. All right, let's look at the prelims. Now, the prelims were very good in themselves. We had the Pat Sabatini and the Jamal Emmers fight. That was a good fight. Jamal Emmers got his knee shredded, He was playing footsies with Pat, and Pat just grabbed. I saw him grab the heel, and then I saw him lean back, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna get him in a heel hook, and then within a few seconds, he got him in a heel hook easily. Let's see. We got JJ Aldridge did great against Vanessa Demopoulos. She just used her. She had 7 inches on her, and she just used her range very well. Dustin Jacoby starched Darren Stewart. He did a great job against Darren Stewart. Darren Stewart was protesting, but he knocked him down. Then he got back up and was kind of winging punches at him wildly, like he wasn't even there. Like when you're in like a street fight as a kid or something, you get hit and you're just like windmilling punches. That's what it looked like. And he hit him again and knocked him down. And then they called the fight. And Darren protested, but at the same time he looked wobbly. He didn't look like he was there. So yeah. We had the Wellington Turman versus Sam Alvey fight. Now this was a very controversial fight. So Sam Alvey got nut kicked like 3 times, and he got eye poked continuously. And in the last round, I believe it was the last round or it was one of the rounds, it was the last round, or the second round, one of those, it doesn't matter. But what matters is that he got eye poked once, and then the ref gave him, like after the second eye poke or the third eye poke, the ref gave him a very hard warning. He's like, look, you gotta cool it with it. And he's like, okay, yeah. And then I swear, like a few seconds later, Sam Alvey comes in and he outstretches his hand again, hits him again in the eye, and then the ref's like, okay, that's a point. And then he hits him again like 10 seconds later in the eye with his, and the ref's like, yeah, that's 2 points. So I've never seen that where the ref takes 2 points, but this guy just could not keep his hands up. You have to keep them up or like this. Like, I just don't know what to do about this, and we'll talk about it in more detail maybe in a new segment I'm thinking of. But they gotta do something about these eye pokes. It's crazy. It's ridiculous, and it made some weird scorecards. It was like 28-27, I think. Yeah, 28-27 for Wellington, and he won all 3 rounds for sure. Sam Alvey got his ass beat. I mean, you could say it's because of the the hands that Sam Alvey was kind of hesitant and didn't want to come in. You could say that inhibited his ability to fight. Of course it did, but at the same time, he's like screaming, "Oh, the judges screwed me over, blah, blah, blah." No, they didn't. You lost 29-27. 30-27. They deducted 2 points. That's 28-27. That's basic math. You did not win one of those rounds. Please don't believe you did. If you're watching the Sam Alvey, which I doubt you are, but please don't. You didn't win it. I love you, dude, but you didn't. And unfortunately, I don't know what's going to happen to him. That's his 5th loss in a row. It's not looking good. I hope he stays. I hope they give him one more shot just to show he still got it. Okay. The feature fight. Now this was Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Alessio Di Chirico, one of my Italian brethren. And unfortunately, Alessio got starched in 17 seconds by a head kick, which is kind of ironic because he starched his last opponent by a head kick. And no, it was good. Abdul Razak Al Hassan, he's good. He's had some ups and downs here's and there's, but overall, he's a powerhouse. He went down in weight, he went up in weight. He was at 170. He feels that the cut was killing him, and he feels that he could do better at middleweight. And, we'll see. But I think, he's got enough power to make anyone think twice about even trading with him. So if I was him, I would work on that wrestling because people are going to try to take you down now, and hopefully you'll be able to stop. All right, and so Ricky Tercios and Brady Highstand did win fight of the night. I don't know why I thought, Gerald got Gerald got the performance of the night. Yeah, and the Ricky Tercios Brady Highstand fight did get fight of the night. Yes, definitely. They deserved it for sure. Performance of the night, Giga Chickadze, which definitely deserved it. Gerald Mershart definitely deserved it. Abdul Razak Al Hassan definitely deserved it. And Pat Sabini, of course, deserved it. That they gave out double. Usually they only give out a fight of the night and 2 performance of the nights, but I think they were really happy with the fight card in general. So that's dope. All right, that's it for the UFC fight. Now let's look at the PFL fight, which was on Friday. So we had the PFL 9, the playoffs, I mean the semifinals for for the 2021 season. Sorry. Okay, so let's start in the prelims. Let's start from the bottom now. Let's go to the top. So not much. It was kind of a boring affair in the prelims. We had Jason Knight. He lost against Bobby Muffet, which I'm a big fan of Jason Knight. I watched him in UFC. I watched him in bare knuckle fighting championships. I watched him at the Game Bred bare knuckle fight. I wish he won, but we can't always get what we want, as the Beatles song says. So yeah, I'm sad he lost, but Brandon Jenkins had an amazing flying knee KO, like just amazing, flattened the dude, and it was it. I hope they put him in the next lightweight tournament. I think he definitely showed he could be part of the tournament. Hopefully he can get those wins and stuff like that. Hopefully it's not just like one little fluke. Chris Camozzi, love to see him fight as always. I didn't catch his fight, but I'm glad he won. And Shaman Moraes. Oh yeah, he knocked the crap out of Lazar. Like Lazar, this dude has power for a featherweight. Like he hit him with one of those clipping shot, the windmill shots. It kind of clipped him on the top side of the head, and he fell down and got all wobbled and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him in the next featherweight season. That'd be dope. Okay, so we had the light heavyweight semifinals. We had Martin Hamlet versus Cesar Ferreira. This one was a little controversial. People are thinking Cesar Ferreira threw the fight. I highly doubt he did, but because he was complaining about, it was like a leg injury. He threw a kick, and his hamstring kind of like, it looked like it tightened up or it contracted or it pulsated. It did something strange that a normal, when you see someone walking down the street, like they're wearing shorts and you see their hamstrings, you don't see that happening. So I'm sure it was an injury. I'm sure he wouldn't want to miss out on the chance of $1 million. I mean, I don't know why they would ask him to, throw the fight, because it's not like Marcin Hamlet's like this phenom. I mean, he is good and he's ranked very high, but Cesar Ferreira also has more name recognition. He's a former UFC fighter. If they would want anyone to take a dive, it would be Marcin Hamlet, unless some betting dive thing. Who knows? But I don't think he did. They had to pull him out on a stretcher. He was yelling and crying the whole time. So, I mean, I don't know. We had Shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr., who defeated Emiliano Sordi, who Sordi is a really good fighter, man. He has been in the finals, I think, like for the past 2 years, and he did a good job. It was a very close fight, but Shoeface was able to kind of eke out the second and third rounds using the takedowns. It was in the stand-up, it was very back and forth, with Emiliano having the slight advantage. And I think the reason Shoeface or Antonio won is because that he got those takedowns. And Chris Wade just dominated Bubba Jenkins. He out-wrestled him. I don't know why they gave Bubba one of those rounds. I didn't give Bubba any of the rounds. Bubba did a good job scrambling. He was able to get up a lot. Chris Wade wasn't able to really, bring it to him. He was able to keep him down for periods of time. He did try to get some submissions, but overall, Bubba was, he was a good wrestler. He's got great scrambles. Wrestlers are great at like just trying to, being explosive and just trying to get out of there. But by the third round, you could tell Bubba was just like totally out of it. So, and Movlid Boulav versus Brendan Lothane. So this was kind of, a boring fight, but Movlid pretty much just held him down for the first 2 rounds. Then in that third round, Brendan was able to get some strikes off, and he bloodied his nose. Movlid's nose. But to be honest, I mean, maybe you could have given him that last round, because Movlid didn't really do much. He knew he was ahead. It would have been insane if they would have given the first 2 rounds to Brendan. But yeah, so Yeah, so it was a pretty good fight, but not my favorite fight. The UFC fight card definitely outperformed the PFL fight card for sure. But I love the PFL and I love their little just their little shtick with their seasons and their playoffs and then their finals. It's really cool. So let's see what's next for these fighters. So the PFL obviously is a tournament based season-based system, so there's no matchmaking involved. It's who wins goes to the finals. So for the light heavyweights, you have Shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr. fighting Marcin Hemlet. Both of them seem like they're grapplers, so maybe we'll get a cool striking battle with some grappling in it. Maybe like the Emiliano Sordi Carlos Jr. fight, which that'll be a good fight. It's going to be in October, along with a few other title fights. And then we have Chris Wade versus Movlid. So, again, two grapplers fighting each other. Is Chris Wade good enough to stop, Movlid? He's one of those crazy Dagestani Russians who come over and just like to wrestle and beat the crap out of people. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be good. I mean, I love the PFL. I will always watch the PFL. Bellator I do like too, but PFL is my number 2 for sure. All right, let's see what's up with these UFC fighters. So we had the winners were, Giga, and then Brian, Ricky, Daniel, Andre, Petrovsky, and Gerald Merchart. So definitely for the Ultimate Fighter winners, they should fight at least 1 or 2 more of those unranked fighters for sure. Just get one more fight in, maybe in the big cage, like a prelim on a pay-per-view, so they can get to know the big cage because they're used to the small cage. So let's get them in that bigger, stadium cage. Giga, definitely. Let's look at so Giga was ranked number 10. Now he's ranked number 9 because Edson Barbosa is here. So I mean, a Dan Ige, Josh Emmett, any of these two would be amazing to fight. He's so good, he can go above. If he fought in the top 5, I wouldn't even be mad because Giga is just that good. Barbosa, he's going to be in the 10, so definitely someone in the 11 to 15 range. I don't think, because Movsar, I think he lost an opponent. That would be a cool in, but like, he did just get knocked out, so I don't think he's going to be fighting for the next 6 or 7 months. So, I mean, Ilia Topuria would be a great fight. Ilia is coming off of a massive KO win over Ryan Hall, but I mean, if I was Ilia, I wouldn't care. I would say, yeah, I'll fight a top 10 dude, and then because then he can fight a top 5 dude, and then he can fight for the title. But anyone, Shane Burgos, they already fought, so I don't know if they'd want to run it back. If they did, that'd be cool. He did beat the crap out of Shane Burgos. But even if they wanted him to go back up, if they want to fight a Josh Emmett, a Dan Ige, anyone, I would be happy to see him fight. But they don't like to put someone with a win against someone with a loss, or someone with a loss against someone with a win. So they'll have to figure that out. Let's see who else. So we had Daniel Rodriguez. Let's see. Who could Daniel Rodriguez fight? So he's not ranked, but I would love to see him fight a ranked fighter. He's proven that he can beat these unranked fighters very handily. He beat Kevin Lee, which I don't think Kevin Lee's ranked in welterweight. He was ranked in lightweight, if I'm not mistaken. He's not. Yeah, he was ranked number 11 in lightweight. And to be honest, that's I know it's the smaller weight class, but that's still something. He beat the number 11 guy in lightweight. So I really think he is ready for a top 15 dude. I mean, Sean Brady was out with an injury. I think that that Daniel Rodriguez should take some time off and just relax because he fought on short notice. It was a long fight. Just relax. And you know what? When Sean Brady is ready, I would tell Dana White, I would tell Sean Shelby, yo, I want Sean Brady because I could beat him. And that would be an amazing fight. Sean Brady's on the rise. And if you can get into that top 15, the sky's the limit because Daniel Rodriguez is a great talent. He works with Joe Schilling, and he also has been in Vegas a lot. He's been all over training. So, he says he's looking for different looks. So I think that Sean Brady, again, would be an amazing fight. All right, so let's look at some fight announcements before we get into the news. Chris Motino, who fought Sean O'Malley, now fights Aaron Phillips in his second UFC fight. That'll be a cool fight. He's a tough dude. Aaron Phillips has fought some good fighters, but he's lost against the greats or the good ones. So that'll be a fun fight, probably on the prelims or the first fight of the main card, something like that. Alex Oliveira versus Nico Price. Ooh, that's going to be fun. Those are two bangers that just love to fight. So that's going to be fun. Lando Venata versus Tucker Lutz. Lando is a great fighter. I saw him come out and he just beat the crap out of, I forget who, but I was just like, who the hell is this guy? And I've been a fan of him ever since. We got Casey O'Neill versus Antonio Shevchenko. Antonio is not as good as her sister, but she's really good in general. So I'm happy to see that. And Frank Yeager to fight Marlon Vera on UFC 268. Ooh, UFC 268 is, it's turned into an amazing card. Hopefully Chandler either gets the vaccine or hopefully they allow him to compete. That'd be great. All right, great. Those are the fight announcements that were from this week. Let's look at the news from the week. All right, so Alistair Overeem, the glory move happened after Fedor turned down the third potential fight. All right. So he said, we tried to make the fight in 2010, and then he declined, and then he fought Brett Rogers, and he declined. Then after the loss, he declined again, and now he's declined for the third time. He's like, can't blame Fedor. I'm getting older myself. He's a bit older than me, so I understand, but I have done everything to make this fight happen 10 years ago, but also now. So yeah, he picked Tim Johnson, who's ranked number 2. I think he wanted to go out on with a ranked fighter. He didn't want to just fight a legend. That's what he was saying. So he's just said he's been sitting around waiting. It's time to move on. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So I mean, that would have been a cool fight. I would have loved to see that fight, but it didn't happen. Whatever. Jake Paul. There's been talks about creating a fighter union, and yeah. MMA Mania. You should edit your stuff better. So. Yeah, Jake Paul is not my favorite person in the world. Anyone you ask who knows me, I do not like that kid at all. I think he's just, he's 24 years old. He needs to learn. He's got hubris, man. He's got to learn some humbleness. But what I do like what he's been talking about, he's been messing with Dana White so much about fighter pay. I love it. That is what I love, because these fighters need to get paid more, especially in the UFC. Bellator, they're a little better at it. They give their fighters a little more of, the percentage. I think it's around 30% or something, or like that, or 40%, while UFC gives like 20%, and I'm being very nice with that number. It's probably more along the lines of 15%. So let's see what he says. So yeah, I thought about creating a fighter union. There have been talks about it. However, it's a massive undertaking. I'm 24 years old, so I don't know if I want to be in charge of a union at this point in my life. But honestly, if no one else is going to do it, then I might have to step into that position and make it happen. However, we would need all the fighters to cooperate, and that's easier said than done. Whatever, way easier said than done. Some people don't want to do it. There's been back and forth. It's a massive undertaking. Do I see it happening soon? Potentially. I would love to do it. That's the only way the fighter pay issue and contracts that people are locked into. It's the only way they're going to change. I think it would be a massive historical moment, and I would love to be a part of it. I mean, yeah, look, I hate the guy, but if he's got the hype behind him, he's got the clout to be able to do something like that. I mean, he's not a fighter really, but he's got a voice. And this new generation, they listen to influencers. Gen Z, they're the ones who are going to be consuming this stuff. Millennials and Gen Z people are going to be the future MMA fans. The Gen X people are getting older, and the baby boomers are getting older. So we are the new generation, and he is like a voice for these younger kids, these Gen Z kids who are going to be watching MMA, throughout. Like, I started when I was 15, so these Gen Zers that are 15 are watching Jake Paul talk about it, and like, yeah, maybe they should get paid more. So I like it. I really do. I'm glad that he's bringing awareness to it. That's what I'm really glad about. All right. Miesha Tate explains comments about UFC pay. She vows that she'd spend every penny to touch that belt again. So Miesha Tate recently said that she spent like 90% of her purse on the fight, and people got all crazy about it. But she kind of puts it in a little bit of a perspective. So she talked. So pretty much she's saying, first, I'm in the 37% tax bracket. I have coaches. She also talks about, she's in my food prep and all these things. And to be fair, they were first-time purchases that benefited me because I haven't fought in 5 years. New running shoes, new bikes, new heart monitor, whatever, those kinds of things. My camp was very expensive, but I'm going to continue that trend. I would spend every penny to touch that belt again. So pretty much what she's saying is that, yeah, she had to like spend a lot of stuff like that, she didn't have before, workout equipment and stuff like that. So probably in her next fight camp, she'll probably spend about like 60% or 70%, Yeah, so she even says, yeah, most fighters spend about 60 to 70% of their fight purse, and so I'm not complaining what the UFC pays me. They pay me about 200 grand. I wouldn't get that anywhere else. I don't think so. So to look at it, I got 200 grand to spend on my fight camp. I reinvested in myself, almost all of it. It wasn't a bad choice. I'm not broke. I own my house free and clear. I own my cars free and clear. I have a great life, so I'll make hand over fist when I'm champion again. Yeah, so I mean, she said she had a great job where she was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year before she came back. So I'm sure she saved some of that money. So she's fine. I'm glad she kind of, you know, all right. Stipe gives update on UFC Futures. He's a lot of adjustments he can make against Francis Ngannou. All right. So he said, "Hey, this is his interview. Hey, nothing new. I feel like it's like that all the time. Right now, it's time for us to sit down with Dana and figure this out and try to find the right path." And then he talks about, so this is about the belt, yeah, the interim belt. So that was the UFC's decision. It's not mine. I wish I'd gotten a call offering me the fight. I never got one, but it is what it is. I probably wouldn't be able to take it anyway, but it would have been nicer to be offered it. There's not much, so there's just so much going on. There's a lot of moving parts. I guess you would say. I'm going to sit down with Dana in September and kind of figure out what's next, what's the game plan, and what we're doing next. So, and he's like, he wants to get the title back, so he's doing it the right way. He did a little bit of complaining. He was doing the ONE FC thing where you're kind of like, ooh, I might go to ONE FC. But in general, he knows how to deal with it. John Jones is doing it the complete wrong way to get the fight. So hopefully they'll fight. That would be an amazing fight. I hope that's John's first fight. That would be a great fight. Okay. So I'm in the age bracket. Dana White responds to Jake Paul predicting knockout of UFC boss. So he's like, so Jake Paul said, if I talk to Dana, I'm gonna knock him the F out or something like that. So he's like, yeah, it totally makes sense. I'm 52 years old. I'm in the age bracket of the guys he fights. So yeah, I would see him wanting to fight me. It's all he fights are 50-year-olds. I love Dana. He's great. I mean, he might be a scumbag when it comes to pay, but he's hilarious, you have to say. So he's not taking it really seriously. He's like, let me tell you what. Get in line. There are plenty of people who would like to assault me. Get in line. It's a long effing line, buddy. You're going to be waiting for a while. No, it doesn't bother me. This is the business we're in. I say it all the time about fighters, too. We're not in the nice guy business. This is a very mean business. I would say mean things about people, too. I say many mean things about people, too. It's just part of the game. It's all good. Yeah, so Dana's just hilarious. He's Dana White. He's never going to change. And, I think it's just hilarious. That's all. All right. Gable Stevenson isn't chasing any offer from the UFC. I don't run to people. Dana White, you have my number. So he said, when they asked him about if Dana White and him talked, he was like, no, the meeting didn't happen. I got to Vegas and I was on the go the whole day. I had no time to reach out or nothing. I don't know. He's got my number. He can reach out. He's not coming at me like that. So like I said, I'll wait my turn. So Dana, you have my number, you have my Instagram. I don't run to people. I do my job. I wrestle. I win championships. I put out for the university. I put out for the USA. No need for me to run anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, that's not really going to happen. Oh, here he is with Vince McMahon. So he did have time to see Vince McMahon, but not text Dana real fast to set up a meeting. I mean, it's just, a pride thing. I mean, I think he's a big WWE fan, and they can probably offer him a lot more than the UFC can. I think he should fight somewhere for PFL or Bellator, or even like in like LFA or something before he fights in the UFC, if they give him a developmental deal. But I guarantee you WWE would be able to do a lot better in terms of money than the UFC would for any developmental deals. So, I mean, but Dana doesn't care. As long as he puts on his 42 fights, he gets his however many $1 million. That comes out to around $13 million a fight card. So he's fine. He doesn't really need you or Gable, whatever. So, but I mean, it would be an awesome acquisition if you could get him. He's a great wrestler, former Olympian and all that stuff. All right, Phil Baroni announces retirement after 19 years of competition. Yeah, it's about that time. So after years of competition and bare knuckle boxing, he's finally calling it a career. I'm retired. My career's come to a close. Thanks to my fans for support. It was fun. Thanks to the memories. It should have been over a long time ago. Adios, amigos, for Mexico. Yeah, I mean, he was saying he pretty much should have listened to his coach a lot more, and he should have. He probably shouldn't have fought a lot like he did in those last few ones. So yeah, I wish all the luck in the world to him. All right, so let's look at next week. So we have UFC Fight Night, Brunson versus Till. And that's going to be a fun fight. We have, of course, Derek Brunson, Darren Till at the top. Derek Brunson's probably going to try to take him down and beat him down. We got Alex Perez versus Matt Schnell. I love him. Ariane Lipsky, the Queen of Destruction. Daimi, no doubt. But she's got some really good striking, so that's going to be fun. Modestas Bakakis, I don't know who that is. I think I saw him once or twice. Fighting Khalil Roundtree Jr. Khalil is a powerhouse. I thought he retired, but I'm sure he was like, yeah, I'm going to come back and fuck these dudes up. And we have Paddy Pimblett versus Luigi Vendarini. Paddy's coming from like that Irish organization or the English organization. I forget what it's called, but he's got a lot of hype behind him. And you got some good fighters. Alex Morano, I know him. And yeah. And also possibly, and Tom Aspinall was supposed to be on it, but and he's fighting Sergey Spivak, but I think Spivak had some problems. If Tom Aspinall could be on this, that would be amazing. I'm a huge Tom Aspinall fan. Paul Craig wants to be on it, and they're trying to find him an opponent. That would be dope. And that's about it. So thank you everyone for watching. Please, again, do me a big favor. Punch that subscribe button, head kick that like button, and thank you again for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Be safe out there.